Chapter 13, 29. Fang Yuan admitting defeat. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Qi Clan's area, in the study room. Qi Lu had been summoned, and after hearing Qi Sheng's intention, he said with an awkward expression, "Lord, is that good? Our Qi Clan and Wu Clan's relation is still quite good. At least even with Wu Clan's current situation, our Qi Clan has been maintaining neutrality. So what? Other clans can make a move, but our Qi Clan can't?" Qi Sheng was getting angry. Qi Lu thought to himself, Lord Qi Sheng is truly like what the rumors said. What should I do now? While thinking, Qi Lu said, I understand Lord's mood, but over here, we have some business where we have been closely collaborating with Wu Clan. If we just suddenly fall out, Qi Sheng immediately came to a realization. Oh, you are talking about the Dream Realm business? Qi Lu nodded. Lord is wise. Wu Clan wanted to do Dream Realm business for some income under the table, but how could their actions be unnoticed by Qi Clan? The immortal goo used in this super goo formation belonged to southern border super clans, but the goo formation itself was personally set up by Qi Clan's first supreme elder. Although Qi Clan contributed few immortal goo, as far as this super goo formation was concerned, they had an enormous influence. Thus, Wu Clan had to bring in Qi Clan if they wanted to do this Dream Realm business. Qi Clan's goo immortals had much more understanding of the goo formation. If they were not brought in, this business could not be done. Qi Sheng sighed inwardly. No wonder First Supreme Elder had once said that it is hard to fathom the minds of people. Qi Lu is a fellow Qi Clan goo immortal, but for personal gains, he is actually not standing on my side. His expression was gloomy. It was hard to resolve the matter now. He wanted to publicly fall out with Fang Yuan, but he encountered an obstacle in the first step. What should he do now? For a moment, Qi Sheng was quite helpless. Because he had taken a position here all of a sudden and had always taken cultivation as his main goal, he had very little contact with other Qi Clan goo immortals and was always focused on researching formation path. His influence in Qi Clan was quite small and could even be said to be the smallest influence among rank 7 goo immortals. It was also the first time he had come to this super goo formation. Now, with his lack of connections, as a grand rank 7 goo immortal, he was actually unable to mobilize Qi Lu. Qi Lu's mood was quite bad, disobeying a rank 7 goo immortal, especially when the latter was an important future hope of the clan. He naturally did not feel good. However, people in low positions naturally had their own survival methods. Qi Lu thought for a bit and said, Lord, it is not that I don't want to do this matter on your behalf. It is just that your status is high. Once this matter is proclaimed, it will have a great impact. How about this? Please let me inform Lord Shigi about this matter. He is the leader here. We will listen to his decision. What do you think? Qi Lu's tone was humble and polite, and was even subtly flattering Qi Sheng. Qi Sheng felt extremely comforted upon hearing this and nodded. All right, then let's see what Lord Shigai says. Shigai's brows furrowed when he heard Qi Lu's report. A fight over a woman, nobody would feel good about involving themselves in a dispute merely over this. Qi felt quite troubled. On one hand, his clansman was Qi Sheng. He had to show respect because Qi Clan's first supreme elder was behind Qi Sheng. On the other hand, if they really escalated this matter, it would no longer be a personal matter, but a political one which could affect the diplomatic relations between Wu Clan and Qi Clan. This was a world where the strong were respected and where one individual's strength could surpass a group's. Thus, politics was also determined by individuals. Qi Sheng and Wu Yihai had very high status. A conflict between them was a conflict between Wu Clan and Qi Clan. This was not exaggerated at all. Especially Wu Clan, it is in a difficult situation, being harassed from all sides. If at this time my Qi Clan joins in, it will damage the neutrality of Qi Clan, and not to mention that we will gain poor reputation for kicking someone when they are down. It will also worsen our relation with Wu Clan, harming my clan's interests. But I also have to appease Qi Sheng. Shigi racked his brains for a while before he actually thought of an idea. He then secretly gave his idea to Qi Sheng. We cannot make this a big issue. Otherwise, the impact will be very bad. Even if we win, we will be making a joke of ourselves. This is, after all, a personal matter. We should deal with this privately. You can tell Fairy Silu about the situation. Wu Yihai also has affection towards Xiao Silu. If you can ask her to be the witness, Wu Yihai would absolutely not dare to act shamelessly. Qi Shang slapped his thigh and shouted, "Great idea!" Qi Gui smiled, slightly pleased with himself. From what Qi Gai saw, this method had even more allure to Qi Shang, who did not want to ruthlessly crush their love rival in front of the girl they loved and gain her attention. Soon, Qi Shang informed Xiao Silu of the matter through an information path Guworm. Regardless of what was going on with Fang Yuan, Qi Shang immediately felt enormous pressure. Now, Fairy Silu knows of this. This is a duel between gentlemen, and it was he, Wu Yihai, who sent the challenge. She should not feel disgusted, right? I need to quickly complete Wu Yihai's challenge. This is my specialty. I absolutely cannot lose. The enormous pressure became a huge motivation for Qi Shang. He started concentrating on the problem. Is this another part? It has a slight relation to the previous part of that Gu formation. It is likely the whole Gu formation was divided into two parts. Damn it, if I knew the whole Gu formation, it would have been much easier. Now I can only deduce according to this part. He was getting a headache. Qi Shang began to use his methods. He was a formation path Gu immortal who knew a mystical Gu formation taught to him personally by First Supreme Elder. This Gu formation used wisdom path Gu worms as the core, while the supplementary Gu worm was an immortal Gu. Normally speaking, be it an immortal killer move or an immortal Gu formation, both used immortal Gu as the core and mortal Gu as supplementary. However, this Gu formation actually did the opposite. The supplementary immortal Gu used was a water path immortal Gu named Sweat. The Gu formation's name was Wisdom Sweat Formation. It slowly activated as Qi Shang poured in his immortal essence. There were no gorgeous lights or sparkles. Instead, an intriguing smell that seemed somewhere between fragrant and foul was formed. The smell grew more intense, shrouding Qi Shang. Gradually, the smell condensed into a fog which covered Qi Shang's face, making him unable to see anything. For 3 days and nights, Qi Shang did not sleep or rest, continuing to deduce. Finally, the fog dissipated and the Gu formation stopped. Some mortal Gu were expended and dead. Only about 10% of them remained, which Qi Shang stored back into his immortal aperture. Among them was Sweat, immortal Gu. Qi Shang's whole body was soaked with sweat, as if he had been drenched in a rainstorm. His face also looked pale. But his eyes were shining brightly. All of a sudden, he raised his head and laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha, I finally solved it. I will see how you can get out of this, Wu Yihai." After a while, Fang Yuan received the letter. "Oh, he got smarter, using Xiao Silu to create difficulties for me? Unfortunately, my goal is not her. This little threat is useless." Fang Yuan soon praised once again. Interesting. Interesting. This solution is indeed a good method. But why could I not think of it? Although Fang Yuan obtained the answer, he did not focus on it. Instead, he started to evaluate himself. There were many areas in Qi Shang's solution that Fang Yuan had not been able to grasp. Formation path was extremely vast. The inheritances Fang Yuan obtained were only of mortal level. It was natural for him to not be able to grasp them. As for Qi Clan, they would not lack immortal level formation path inheritances. Moreover, with generations of development and innovating new things based on the original foundation, they were Southern Border's #1 force in formation path. But even if I don't have immortal inheritances, if my attainment level can reach Grandmaster, I should also be able to solve this problem. Attainment level was one's understanding of the essence of the Great Tao. A simple analogy would be the solving of a mathematical problem. Fang Yuan wanted to modify the Gu formation and achieve his goal. It was like he wanted to reach a number, for example 5. Despite having the Gu worms, he did not know how to obtain 5. At this time, Qi Shang's answer was 2 + 3 = 5. Fang Yuan came to a realization that he could achieve his target like this. If his attainment level was enough, even if he did not know, He could rely on his instincts to understand the question from parts, to extrapolate information, and obtain the answer of 2 plus 3 equals 5, or 10 divided 2 equals 5. Naturally, goo formations were not as simple as this, especially when there were many goo worms involved. It became harder to arrange them successfully. The contents of goo formations were complicated and varied. There were simple goo formations, compound goo formations, as well as formations within formations, depending on the form. There were square formations, circular formations, and so on. Depending on the activation style, there were instant activation formations and delayed activation formations. Then they were divided further according to paths, fire formations, water formations, and so on. Some goo formations were like towers, with layers upon layers of designs. Some goo formations were easy to modify and were like a set of clothes. Modifying them were like sewing a patch. Some goo formations could not be modified. They were like building blocks, and changing one of them could cause the whole goo formation to collapse. If one subdivided the goo formations, the goo worms involved would become even more complicated. For example, some goo worms needed to be used together, while some had to be dispersed to influence their respective targets. By the night of the second day, the eagerly waiting Qi Shang received Fang Yuan's reply. This time with Fairy Silu as the witness, I want to see how you will act shamelessly. Qi Shang impatiently sent his consciousness into the information path. Mortal goo. His face soon brightened up. Because Fang Yuan had admitted his capabilities in the letter, and that he was indeed worthy of Fairy Silu's admiration. But Fang Yuan had also written that Wu clan had people that could do this, and it was not anything strange. Qi Shang frowned when he saw this, but he was unable to retort since Wu clan indeed had people who could solve the problem. At this moment, he saw the last paragraph of the letter. Fang Yuan had put forward a problem again. Moreover, he promised that if Qi Shang could solve this, he would admit Qi Shang was superior to him. Even in front of Fairy Silu, he would admit he was inferior. Qi Shang started to breathe in deeply. He imagined the situation when he and Wu Yihai appeared in front of Chao Silu at the same time, with Wu Yihai cupping his fists and saying, "I am inferior to you." A love rival admitting he was inferior. The more Qi Shang thought of this, the more moved he became. Wu Yihai has a high status. He is my biggest rival. I can win this and defeat him. More importantly, Fairy Silu is the witness. I don't have to be afraid of Wu Yihai reneging on his promise.